everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Lynn Lowdown. I'm Wesley Days, and on today's show, we're going to be sitting down and talking to Fire Captain Joe Zukas. Good morning, I should say. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. So, my first question is, the big thing that's going on right now is the coronavirus. Everyone's talking about it. It's still, amongst us right now. How has your job changed, or how has the job of the fire department changed since the pandemic hit?
Well, obviously, for all of us, we've never worked or lived through a pandemic in my lifetime or my 32 years in the fire department. So it's very difficult. We had to make sure that we take extra precautions for us and the public by wearing goggles, masks, and Tyvek or gown suits to protect us. So it's worrisome because the information we received was constantly changing as the doctors and government officials find out more information. So it's hard to keep the members abreast, but we did a good job doing that with everybody and keeping our workers, our employees safe and keeping the public safe.
Absolutely. So I know that, COVID-19 is not a permanent event, but what impact
but it's going to be permanent in the sense that this coronavirus is here to stay. It's going to travel the planet like all the other viruses that we have out there. So I want people to realize that.
Absolutely. So my question is, how will COVID-19 have a permanent impact on your fire department?
Well, we're going to be much more cautious when we go on calls. Any flu-like symptom calls, we're going to wear masks more than we've ever had. We always wear rubber gloves on all our calls anyways, that form of PPE to protect us, but now gloves and goggles and depending on the type of call we go to. So I think it's raised everybody's awareness, and also personal hygiene, to wash your hands more, to be cautious. I think if somebody doesn't feel good, they're sick, they're not going to come to work. And traditionally, not just the fire department, maybe a lot of people would go to work if they didn't feel well. They figure, hey, I can be sick at work as easy as home. I'm not going to use a sick day or whatever you want to call it. But I think people now realize that you potentially go to work, you could affect a lot more people than your immediate family. You work with a bunch of coworkers, whether it be a fire department or an office building. So I think people are more in tune to that, to be respectful to their coworkers and their peers out there in the community, that if you're sick, you could affect a lot more people than just yourself. So I think that awareness has reached home.
Absolutely. And so, we all know the main reason to call the fire department if it's in case of a fire, but what have other calls been like during this pandemic?
Well, I've been on 32 years. When I first came on, 100% of our calls were fire-related calls. Mm-hmm. It has completely changed in the Lynn Fire Department across the country, whereas 60 to 70% of our calls are EMS related. So it has been a change over the past 20, 25 years to go from 100% fire-based to the EMS-based, even though the structural firefighting calls are still our most important function. But EMS continues for our fire department, all fire departments across the country, to be a major portion of our calls. So we've been going to these calls for a long time. We're very good at them. We have a lot of highly skilled paramedics and EMTs. So we're very familiar with going to these type of calls. That's not new to us. We go to a lot of flu-like symptom calls. This is obviously a pandemic. It's a very contagious disease. We have to take extra precautions than we normally would. So we've done pretty good weathering this this pandemic. I would think our guys have done a great job. They're wearing the PPE, the mask, the gloves, the goggles. So we've done very well, considering.
Absolutely. And so, and also on a side note, can you explain to our audience what EMS is for people out there that don't know?
I'm sorry. Yeah. Some of these acronyms can be tough. Emergency Medical Services.
Got it.
So on the Lynn Fire Department, we have 180 members, men. We have one woman and the rest of men. So right now our full complement is 183. Right now we're 3 short. There's a hiring freeze on the city. So we're at 180. And we have roughly about 40 paramedics, which is the highest level of pre-hospital medicine you can get out there. They work on the ambulances too. And then we have about 120 EMTs, which is emergency medical technician. And then all firefighters and police officers have to be trained to the first responder level. It was basic CPR, first aid, and things like that. So we have a lot of highly skilled employees out of 180 men and women on the Lynn Fire Department. with the highest level being paramedics. So we have paramedics, EMTs, and first responders.
Got it. And so, I'm going to switch the question a little bit. Even though, even after the pandemic, what services does the fire department offer that, many Lynn community members might not know about? And,
I
could
think
be a
I think
benefit?
we like the fire service, especially the Lynn Fire Dept is very proud and traditional organization. We like to pride ourselves that we're an all hazard agency. It's not just fires we go to car accidents, we go to if somebody had any water emergency, we have boats, we go to floods, we search for lost people, we go to numerous medical calls, we go to overdoses, we have Narcan, building collapses, hazardous materials, wires down, almost any type of emergency that you have that you need help, people call the fire department. That's why we're a rescue agency. That's why we call ourselves Lynn Fire and Rescue. We're not just the Lynn Fire Department, but we do everything. We go to car fires, house fires, brush fires, woods fire, everything. So we are truly, if you have an emergency and you need help, you call us and we'll be there. We're strategically located throughout the community. We have 6 fire stations spread out, so we can get to most people's homes, depending on where you live in traffic, within 4 to 6 minutes, which is a pretty good thing.
Absolutely. So after the recent tropical storm, many trees fell, wires were hanging low. How can community members get in contact with the fire department if they need help?
Well, just dial 911. If you dial 911, that will give you a police, fire, or EMS. So that's, and explain your emergency, and they'll connect you with the proper agencies that can help.
Absolutely. So I kind of want to switch gears now, and I want to talk about the new recruits. And I know that you were just speaking about how the city's in a hiring freeze. And, there are 3 new firefighters that were recently sworn in or were recently celebrated for graduating from the academy, if you will. How will they be joining the fire department soon, or will their positions be stalled for the time being?
Nope, they got hired in March, and we did some in-house training with them to wait for the 10-week fire academy positions to open up. In a perfect world, we would hire them right away and send them right to the fire academy in Stowe to do their 10-week training, which is 40 hours a week for 10 weeks. But there's a wait list, there's a backlog there. So what we do historically, we train them in-house. We have a lot of trained, we have a lot of firefighters on our job who are instructors at the fire academy. So we do our own in-house training, get them all ready to go. So they've been working since March, since they got hired in March. Recently, they just got sworn in at City Hall. That's what you're talking about. But those 3 members have been on the job for several months now and fighting fires and working hand in hand with the other firefighters. And they stopped working with us to go to the fire academy. And then when they get out, that's how that works.
Oh, perfect. That's wonderful. So I want to ask, because before you were a fire captain, you were also a firefighter. You started at the low rank, but you made your way up. What advice or wisdom would you impart on these new recruits as they start working straight into the force and, on the job?
Well, first of all, I'd like to express even to your viewers out there, if you want to be a firefighter, I think that one of the best, easiest ways is to become an EMT. Because a lot of, not just the Lynn Fire Department, on our job, you have a year to get your EMT, but a lot of fire departments, you have to be an EMT before you get hired. So that would be a good, I just want the listeners to know that if you want to be a firefighter, take an EMT course, see if you like it, since so much of our job is medically related as opposed to fire related. I wouldn't want somebody to come on a job and think they're just going to fight fires and find out they go to more medical calls and be disappointed. So, and then the next step after you take an EMT, you could become a paramedic. And most fire departments and cities across the state or the country are looking for paramedics. There's a shortage. So that's an easy way to get on a fire department if one wants to be a firefighter. For our 3 new hires, I would just say, just follow the firefighters that have been on a long time. They have all the experience, the veteran firefighters, follow their lead. And I always like to, treat the public respectfully and, treat others the way, like the golden rule, treat others the way you want to be treated. If that's something they can live by their whole career, I think they'll have a successful career.
Absolutely. And so I know that you gave a little, tidbit about, if people are joining or if they want to join. Why should people join?
The fire department might not be for everyone. I mean, obviously, we're running into burning buildings as people are running out. Some people that get into public safety might want to be a police officer or other routes. But I think it's a very rewarding job. It's a job that I always love to go to. I never once said I have to go to work today. This stinks. So I always enjoy going to work. I work with a group. I've always worked with a good group of guys, and it's a very fulfilling thing to go out there and help the community. And for the most part, the community has been very responsive to us. And I'll be at Dunkin' Donuts and somebody say, thank you for your service. And that goes a long way. It makes me feel good about my profession that I chose to be in, and that people respect it in the work that we do. So we're an agency. We're just out there to help people. And that's our model. We're an all hazard agency, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And what, my final question for you to kind of leave on an interesting note, what was one of the most important lessons that, you were taught when you were going through the program or the Fire Academy? And how has it stayed with you to this day?
Well, that's an interesting thing that you say, is that I didn't go to the Fire Academy because back then they were trying to save money. We had so many fires. I came on in 1988 that we did on-the-job training. I wish I went to the Fire Academy like all the new recruits do now. I went on my own over the years and got the same certifications. But so I like I said, the fire service has completely changed for the better on that. So every new hire, within their first year, goes to the Fire Academy. So I just think the best thing too is just to follow your training. Don't ever let your guard down, and always have your eyes and ears open, because you never know, things can change at a moment's notice. What appears to be one thing might not be that. So just situational awareness, just to see, be careful, see what's out there, and try not to be surprised. I mean, this is a tough business. No two fires are the same. So it's a very dangerous job, but it's a very fulfilling, rewarding job too, when we're successful, either putting the fire out or saving somebody's life or property, or saving their life on the EMS end also.
Absolutely. Captain Joe Zukas, thank you so much for being on today's Lynn Lowdown. I want to appreciate you, stepping in, because I know that we were supposed to have Fire Chief Archer, but he had something else to do. So thank you so much for stepping in for him today. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. This has been another edition of Lynn Lowdown. We'll see you next time. I'm Wesley Good.